giving up. It's actually been JB welded in. I just don't know why you would do that. I'm struggling with motivation on this car. The brakes are seized again, so they're going to need pulling off and a complete rebuild. I'm going to put the car away for a little bit, forget I have it, and then just try and think what I'm going to do. I've given up for now. I'm going to dump it in a barn. But for now, say goodbye to the RX8 until I get some motivation. Station. Oh god, it's far too loud.
Hello and welcome back to LeEdFollow. Yes, we are still alive. The channel's still going, so sorry it's been a while since our last update. But while we were off the air, we actually passed 1,000 subscribers, so thank you very much for everybody for liking and subscribing and supporting the channel. So, what have we been up to? Well, we've both had a bit of downtime. We've had some stuff outside of cars to do in the last few months. I mean, Ed's been pretty much flat out working the farm, which is where I am today, and I've been doing a load of building work at home. And with the garage full of wood and plasterboard, it's been very difficult to actually get to the GT86 or the EZ30 to do any more on those things. One other thing we did is me and some of the other usual suspects, we did a little track day to Spa in Belgium. Fantastic track. If you haven't been, definitely find the time to get yourself over there and take part in the track day. Weather was a little bit hit and miss. Luckily we had some dry time on the track, but then it was actually snowing the next day. Absolutely crazy. So why am I here at the farm today, sat outside Ed's RX8? Well, if you haven't already noticed by the title of the video, Ed's RX8 is now my RX8.
Nice.
Why did I buy it? Well, more on that later. More importantly, why did Ed sell it? Well, Ed lost the love for the car, and now he's got the Audi S6. Any free time he has is pretty much spent working on that. And that's why the RX8 has a very healthy amount of dirt and dust on it now. But we're going to fix that. So first job of the day, remove the flat battery so that I can take it home and put it on charge. So now that the battery's removed and I've straightened up the wheels, I need to just raise the front of the car to give myself enough room that I can get under there and remove the engine under trays. Then I can have a look at how much room I've got to access that eccentric shaft sensor, and then decide how much I need to raise the engine to give myself enough access. So now, let's get underneath and see what else we need to remove. There's the sump. So the eccentric shaft sensor should be just up there. So I don't know whether I need to bother removing that. I should be able to just slide in there and see it. Ooh, got a bit of an oil leak under here. Could just be the sump plug. I'll have to figure that out. Aha, there you are. Yeah, and you can see exactly why Ed got upset with that, because somebody's glued it in. You can see there's no bolt in there. So yeah, there's no room here. I'm gonna have to lift the engine. So okay, well, luckily I've got an engine lift. So I'm gonna have to get under there, disconnect the exhaust, maybe disconnect the prop, disconnect the gearbox mount, engine mounts, so that the engine can wiggle. Then I can put the crane in, pull the engine. Hopefully that'll give me enough room to get to the sensor. Fingers crossed. So, I've just thought of something. With the airbox out the way, you can actually see the eccentric shaft sensor. So I've just pulled the airbox out the way, and I've just wedged a screwdriver in there. I don't know which angle is better for you to see. But yeah, you can see the eccentric shaft sensor there. And Ed's not around to ask if he's tried it this way, but I don't see why. You just can't put a screwdriver in here and just smack it out. So I'm going to give that a go now. That's a sensor out without having to remove the engine.
Several days later.
Day 2. Well, technically day 3, 4, 5. I've been up to the farm a few times, but this is the second day that I'm filming. And what we figured out is that there is no room to actually get the broken off stud out that was holding in the sensor. So I'm gonna have to lift the engine. So the first thing I did was remove this belt by slackening off that nut and then turning this counterclockwise to remove the tension, and I can get the belt out the way. The other thing I did was I disconnected the engine mounts. You probably can't see them. Let me see if I can get a video here. Ah, there they are. There's one of the engine mounts. So basically one bolt at the top, one bolt either side. I removed them on both sides and took them out the way. That just gives you enough room to move the engine left and right to give yourself enough room to drill that out. So I drilled it out in 2 ways. I was underneath with a right angle drill that Ed lent me. That was very handy. And then what I found is I couldn't actually remove the remnants of the steel bolt that was in there. So I actually drilled out right next to it into the aluminium, and then I cut a new thread and I've just put a new nut and bolt in. So as you can see now, the sensor is back in place. Just remembered a couple of other things that I did to give myself enough room to actually make a new hole is I disconnected the exhaust there, which you can see. I'm glad I did that actually, because the gasket that fell out was totally ruined, so I've got a new one on order. And then the other thing I did, if I can see from here, is I undid the bolts to the gearbox. There's 2 here, and then there's 2 actually identical ones a little bit further up around the corner you can't quite see. But by undoing those, undoing the exhaust, disconnecting the engine mounts, that gave me enough room to drill it out and re-tab it. So hopefully the fact the sensor is held in slightly like that, because I couldn't get the old bolt out, it has to be in a new hole right next to it. I don't think that's going to matter, because if I show you the old sensor, what did I do with it? Here it is. So as you can see, it's like a circular type sensor. So I don't think it matters if you don't have it in the factory position. It's just literally looking for the teeth on that front pulley down there, just to see where the eccentric shaft position is. So I think we should be good. But now, so it's back down on its wheels. I just got to put the airbox back in, and then the battery, and then we should be able to start it up. Ed's here as well. Awesome. Ed's here.
Hello.
And we have la batterie. We've just checked everything. Every wire is back where it should be, every jubilee is tightened, and every vacuum hose is sucking onto something. So it's the moment of truth. Let me grab the keys and see if this bad boy will start. Right. Let's make sure it's not in gear, which it is. Okay. So Ed's going to drive it out because he's not covered in oil and crap, unlike me. Handbrake? Yeah. Yeah, you're good. Okay, you're still good that side. Keep going, keep going. I'm watching the tools and stuff. Yeah. And you've got loads of room over that side. Right, let me get round the other side. Yeah, just straighten up now, just straight. She lives. Yes. Anyway, this is Joss, by the way. Josh is Ed's brother-in-law, and he has volunteered to wash the RX8 for me because I'll be quite honest, I hate washing cars, and this thing needs a damn good scrub. Look at all this. Look at it. Look at it.
And you'll just use a sponge.
I would just throw pond water over it, and a sponge.
And a chamois.
No, just a dishcloth and some fairy liquid, and yeah, I do love it. It's very cool. Okay, so next job, power steering. For some reason, after I got the car moving the other day, the power steering wasn't working, and it's usually these two connectors that are a bit gunky, or that earth strap. That's the only thing that I actually removed, so it's unlikely to be those two. So I've just removed that, cleaned it up with a little bit of contact spray, and then tightened it back up. I've also cleaned these connectors while I'm at it, so I'm going to reconnect those now, see if that makes a difference. Okay, another day back at the farm. And there she is. Dogs are going absolutely crazy. So, last time I was here, last weekend, we of course had that power steering issue. That is all sorted now, since I took off that earth cable, and I took a little bit of a wire wheel to it, and I got all the rust off of it. Power steering is now working. I tested all the lights. All I've got left to do for an MOT now is make sure all the brakes are freed up and unseized, and also top up the windscreen sprayers, and then we are good to go. Going to start on this side because this is the one that Ed had all the problems with, and of course jacked up, wheel off, and I've just got to undo those two bolts to take the caliper off, and then I've got a special tool to wind the caliper in and out again. Loosening up the rear calipers, dead simple. You just need one of these special tools. They come in a set. Usually the one on the left is for turning the twisting caliper bolt to the left, and the one on the right is for twisting it to the right. So on these, twist to the right, you just select one of these discs that lines up with the little nubbins that go into the holes here, the little grooves, and essentially, let me get this on. There we go, it's all on now. So I've lined it up so it fits in the grooves, and you twist this out until this blanking plate, you've got a couple of different blanking plates in the kit. The blanking plate meets the other side of the caliper. Then you just turn this anti-clockwise, and what it will do is it will turn the caliper piston, and it will push at the same time, so it's actually going to force it in. But you get the idea. So what I'm going to do is wind that all the way in till it won't go any further. Then I'm going to put the caliper back onto the caliper mount with those two bolts. Then I'm going to step on the brake pedal. That'll force the caliper out to meet the pads. And then I'll repeat the process over and over again. I'm going to do that on all four corners to make sure this is ready for the MOT on Monday. So I'm at the MOT centre. Everything should be good to go. Fingers crossed it'll pass, so wish me luck. So that went well. So we have an MOT. Fantastic. So there's only one thing left to do now. Okay, so the first thing I've noticed is it is incredibly loud in here. That exhaust is absolutely bonkers. I mean, it sounds lovely, but yeah, that isn't going to get on a track. At the end of August, I've got this booked in to take it to Anglesey, do a light bit of playing about. Oh, listen to that. Far too loud. There's no way that is ever going to be passing a decibel test on a track day. That's going to have to change, unfortunately, especially if I want to be able to use this how I'm planning. But yeah, temperatures are good, everything seems fine. Tracking's a little bit off, so I'm going to have to fix that. I also had some problems with the engine fans not coming on. Change some relays around, check some fuses, all seems to be okay. I don't know really if that is fixed or not. Speed bump. That's a cool overrun. Another speed bump. It's far too loud. Oh god, it's far too loud. I mean, it's cool, but yeah, not getting on a track with that exhaust. No way. A friend of mine lent me a decibel meter to see how loud this is and whether it would get on track, but yeah, that's a waste of time. That is, that's not going to get on track. I don't even think I need to bother checking it. I'm literally just going to have to change that exhaust. I'm only going 30 through these little country roads, and the din is unbelievable. I mean, I really miss the sound of rotaries. It's been a while since my last RX8, so it's really great to be back in a rotary. However, I forgot how bloody loud they are. Far too low. Just leaving my house, I must have literally lost bits of RX8 over every single speed bump there was. So luckily it's got coilovers, I can adjust the height, so I'm going to raise it a little bit. Hopefully it'll be a little bit nicer to drive, and I won't be having problems with ground clearance anymore. So okay, what do I need to do to this car? Well, the exhaust is too loud, there's no denying that. And also, the coilovers are set a little bit too low for my liking. I'm just totally grounding out on every speed bump that I come across, so I'm going to have to raise those. The clutch is a bit spongy, so about time to change to a braided hose on that, give it a bleed with some fresh new fluid. The wheels, I like the wheels, however, I think I'm going to go back to the original 18s. But otherwise, really nice car. Quite a bargain really. I kind of feel bad for taking this off of Ed, but he didn't really have the time to fix it and I did, and this is going to be perfect for what I'm planning on using it for, which is still a secret. If you want to find out what that is, you'll have to tune into the next video and I shall explain all. But thank you very much for watching. It's great to be back, and I'm looking forward to making loads of cool videos, especially about this car. So take care, see you next time, bye for now.